So we were just visited by Juan Angel, who basically does kind of cowboy stuff, right? Ultimately, he wasn't clear about what exactly he does, but today he wanted to offer to take us to the train site here in nearby Rosario, where Pancho Villa stormed down from his encampment in the hills over here and took the train.
My home's only for the night, waking up in different places, and I stopped running from my life, and all the pieces found their places. My heart is home with you.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Go Roughly Around the World.
So what the hell are we doing in the jungle? We're not
We're not in the
you.
jungle. We are in Panajachel, Guatemala.
So we're here for a couple of weeks, visiting with our Roughly team, just checking in, making sure everything is A-okay, as we then continue through Central America on our way to the Darien Gap,
Yep.
where we've got to figure out how we're getting ourselves, our dog, and our 2 motorcycles across to to South America.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. In the meantime, in the last episode, you and Whimsy had your first crash together.
We did. It was a gentle crash.
I would call it a delicate crash.
It was a stall crash.
Certainly compared to some of the epic crashes that you and Moxie had together, this was
a good
very
first
modest.
one.
Yeah. And Whimsy was like super thrilled about it.
She was so excited, wagging her tail. Like, anytime that I go down when it was with Moxie and now with Whimsy, they just get so excited about it. Something new and different for them.
So that was your first crash. It's not your only,
No.
Spoiler alert. Mm-hmm. But that crash, I think, sort of foreshadows what's coming up in this episode and the next few, really.
Yeah.
Because we're getting into increasingly more difficult or challenging off-road terrain.
Yeah.
These Tiger 900 Rally Pro bikes are, I think, much more capable than our old bikes. I think our skill sets
we're
are
definitely
expanding.
pushing ourselves a lot more now.
So this stretch this episode we pick up with a not so pleasant stranger visit to our campsite in the dark.
Yeah.
Not cool. And then from there we tackle this stretch, right? We wild camp in the middle of a town, in the middle of a village. And that's,
A little bit different than what we normally do.
yeah, we prefer the wild camping. This was like
Non-wild,
village
wild.
camping. And then we tackle this challenging off-road stretch through the Durango hills. Pancho Villa country.
Yes.
So stick around. Okay, go ahead.
Good girl. Down, down.
So we were just visited by Juan Angel, who is from Durango and has moved out here, living with his sister nearby, and basically does horse stuff. So he's like working on the local ranches and doing kind of cowboy stuff, right? Ultimately, he wasn't clear about what exactly he does, but today he kind of rode by on the horse and he was delivering a horse to one of the local ranches.
Yo vengo de Durango, mi abuela venía siendo de San Juan del Río, prima hermano de Pancho Villa, pues que vienen siendo de la Coyotada de allá, de San Juan del Río. Entonces, pues me siento muy a gusto porque me gusta la charrería y todo eso. Y ahorita me dedico a la agricultura y a darle baile a los caballos. Y entonces, para mí es un orgullo.
He wanted to offer to take us to the train site here in nearby Rosario, where apparently Pancho Villa, stormed down from his encampment in the hills over here and took the train.
Pues aquí estamos en el Rosario, Durango todavía aquí unos poquitos kilómetros ya queda el municipio de Chihuahua, pero aquí estamos en Durango, por decir, municipio de Durango. Aquí enseguidita en este cerrito está el campamento de Villa y está la cueva. Aquí estamos en el Rosario, aquí está la estación de Rosario, donde venía el tren, y pues municipio de Durango, pues la gente de Villa.
And we shared a few shots, I think more than a few, of mezcal that, you know, in our offering, that's really how we make friends. And so he went home happy. We are seeing bats, bats that are flying around above us. Jessica is a big baby about stirring things. Everything has to be stirred to the point of like the molecular...
I don't want to slurp my drink and have pieces like that are floating around in my mouth that have not dissolved properly. So I prefer it when people make me drinks that they actually stir them.
I am shaking, but I'm alive. I am holding on so tight. I'm a wreck, but I am trying. Can't you see?
It's actually a bit late. It's 6:20, 6:30. We're still hunkered down in the tent because first light isn't quite here. We've had coyotes wailing first like late at night, and then 2 or 3 additional encores. We've had donkeys that are wailing almost like sperm whales, and then finally come around to the hee-haw donkey sound that you expect. We've had bats, creatures jumping into the water, some creatures scurrying around the bikes and rustling among the tillamook's. And then I put my light on it, but the mesh of the tent just shines most of it back right into your face and into your eyes. And we got visited by quite a rain last night. And then early this morning, we had another visit from Juan Angel, who wanted to guide us over to Agua Termales nearby. And Whimsy was quite correctly growling at him. And I was like, no, we don't want to go to see any Aguas Termales at 6 o'clock. So very kind of him, I suppose. And yet, no, leave us alone.
Massive trouble and consternation here in Camping Paradise, where Jessica has just spilled her coffee. So she has this...
Little bit. We've got this stretch to do. It rained last night, so it's probably going to be a little bit muddy. I'm a little bit concerned about it, just because there's a dirt stretch here we have to get out. It looks like there's another fucking car coming this way. He's going to screw up my line again. And so we got to get out of here. We got to get out of this area that has about 30 minutes of this off-road stretch. And then we've got another stretch that we're doing to sort of detour a little bit to try a different track. I don't know what that's going to be like. And with the weather right now, I don't know if the sun is going to continue to come out or what, but we'll have to see.
One absolutely non-essential but very handy piece of kit is a mesh stuff sack. I have wet rags from drying the dishes, from drying Jessica's spill in the tent, my towel from bathing yesterday, and the rain overnight, and the sponge. I'm gonna strap it down so that it is connected on either end. And what that means is this is just gonna get loads of wind going through it through the ride, and really after maybe an hour or less, everything in here is gonna be dry.
We're here in El Carrizo. It's a random place that is a turn off to a route that we were gonna take, and they're having this nice big festival. They have a whole bunch of stalls out here with like homemade goods. Inside here, they're celebrating for the solar eclipse that's happening. And so it's a whole bunch of kids out here. They're celebrating. They're gonna set up some rockets from the university, one of the universities in Florida. It was just sort of random that we came across this.
Este es un queso de puño. El proceso es cuajar la leche con un producto que se llama cuajo. se pone dentro de una malla donde se va escurriendo el suero, se amasa primero, se pone sobre la malla, luego se mete dentro de una prensa donde lleva un tiempo de secado y añejado, que es lo que hace que el queso tenga un sabor muy específico. Es un queso elaborado en una de nuestras comunidades.
The candied peaches and the candied calabaza and stuff, no, not so much. But local cheese from one of the communities, yes, gotta try it. Right next to where we bought the cheese, now we have tacos, right? She's preparing them right here. That really caught Jessica's eye, so she's going sort of on the other side of the mostitarian trend.
Sit.
Fíjate lo que va a hacer. No,
Whimsy,
toma.
sit.
Dale,
Sit.
dale.
Okay, yeah.
Toma, dáselo.
I've asked them to prepare me sort of everything, and then I gave them the cheese de puño, and so they're gonna basically make me like a quesadilla with this regional cheese.
Sit. Good girl. Okay, ahora.
Time to me, get no pleasure without pain, no love without heartbreak, respect, reflection, say.
We were coming through looking for a wild campsite. It was probably around 4 o'clock, and there was like one river, and there were people like sort of like drinking and partying under it. So Whimsy got to fluck around in the water, so she cooled down. And then we came to like this other little village where there was this like stadium gazebo thing with this cement grounds and shelter. And there was nobody around. Like there's like a dilapidated house over there, half built, and like there are not many people around. And so I thought, well, why don't we just camp here? Like it's in case it rains, it'll be nice. We'll have a little shelter. Greg was able to find the owner, or at least the people in charge of this ranch, and they said, yeah, sure, you're welcome to go. And Whimsy's seeing a man coming up. And so, yeah, it turns out, sure, they said fine. They said, you and the coyotes, which is true because there were a whole bunch of coyotes. But it's just fun to have a sort of different experience. Like we're sort of in the middle of this village and this unique sort of camping setup, and there's something a little different than the wild camping that we have been doing before. And nobody harmed us here. And this man is the first person that we've seen come up.
My days.
Whimsy, like Jessica, is known for not really chewing her food. It just kind of gets gobbled up and consumed, and somehow it gets digested in big chunks as it goes through. With the exception of this queso de puño that we bought yesterday, with Whimsy not having sort of enough teeth in her mouth right now because she's losing a bunch, she's really having to work it around and find a location where she can chomp it. And as a result, a lot of it's coming out of her mouth.
Okay, come on. Okay, wait.
And yet it still gets down in record time. Rather than have to buy 8 1-liter bottles of water to fill up our canteen here, this gentleman that runs the abarrotes was nice enough to let us use his hose, his grifo, and we're filling up the HydroPack Flux Plus. It has a filter in here, and so we've got clean water for our gringo stomachs.
And now we've got a nice like smattering of foods. We've got eggs for the morning, and I've got a bunch of desserts. We've got cheese, we've got beans, we've got rice that we've got ourselves, we've got salsa. We're gonna have some good tacos. Whimsy, come.
Time to me, get no pleasure without pain, no love without heartbreak, respect, reflection, say. When we were young, we read the seem the longest time.
Son unas 3 horas de camino, no sé cuántos kilómetros, pero pues el camino a esta terracería. Van a pasar General Galeana, llegando a Campa y ahí está el río, pueden acampar ahí y pues ya seguir el camino mañana, pero todavía les queda un poco de camino.
Whimsy has somehow made friends. I don't really think it was Whimsy who made the friends. I think it was me because they saw me feeding Whimsy. And Whimsy's busy just sniffing them all over, up and down.
Oh, understand the folly of our own, that we dwell on our mistakes, chances we're too afraid to take.
Whimsy's dug herself a home over here. I'm a little bit concerned because she keeps sliding further and further back. Either maybe it's because of the shade, but I think she's eventually gonna like fall down this hill if I don't catch her.
Mother's made in white, in the father's eyes, so blue as the southern sky. And when I die, when I'm dead and gone, turn to the dust and dirt where I belong. Pray my love will linger on. Pray my love will linger on. For all my days.
Rosendo was nice enough to tell us about this area. We'd heard about it back in the Pueblo, and he kind of led us to go down this road here to find this spot.
For all my days, for all my days, I pray my life won't go to waste. Come time I meet my resting place.
This is just gorgeous right here along the river. River's a little bit muddy, it's definitely low. There's some really ugly cloud cover that's come in here. Although Rosendo strongly does not think that it's going to rain because it is never raining around here.
It's for the love in your heart. 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 It's for the love in your heart.
It's like, it's going a little feo, and I was like, well, do you think it's gonna rain? Muy baby, it doesn't rain around here. They're having a huge drought. This river is way down. So, I don't think we're gonna have rain tomorrow, but you never know what the gods have in store. And now we're having dinner, clearly. That's how this evening's going. Let's see if hopefully it doesn't progress in a more sinister direction. It all gets mixed in your stomach anyway. Your gut does a pretty good job of mixing it. Go ahead.
So for tonight, we've got some...
Wait, speak up.
For tonight, we've got some pasta.
Start over and... yeah. So that does not bode well for a dry morning. This is really a sort of common thing for us. I mean, it's I don't know that I would say frequent, that might be unjust, but routine.
So we thought that this stretch was going to be dirt, and it turned out it wasn't. It's paved.
I didn't think this part was...
Originally, we did.
This was always a highway.
So the chin protector, the chin, what do you call this?
Yeah, chomp-tastic.
I'll let you guys are like moving too much.
Okay, Whimsy, calm.